Hi, this is Joshua Kulp. This is Daf Shevui. We are learning Masechet Ketubot, and we are on Daf Vav. After a very long passage full of Agada, we finally get to some sugyot that begin to talk about the Mishnah itself. And I wanted to talk a little bit about one of these sugyot. I have written up an extensive explanation of this sugya in a forthcoming chapter for our new book, Reconstructing the Talmud, Volume 2, but I'll give you a little preview of it over here. Remember, the Mishnah had said that a Jew cannot participate with an idolater in their festivals for 3 days before. He can't engage in any kind of monetary interaction with them, neither loaning to them or borrowing from them, neither lending money to them or borrowing money from them. It was a quite extensive prohibition, and the Gemara finally asks why. Ibairuhu, they ask the question, Mishum Harvacha, is it because of causing them to profit? O Dilma Mishum V'rifnei Iver Lo Titein Michshol, or perhaps it's because you're putting a stumbling block before the blind. Now, I wanted to go over those two in this video and just talk about how difficult they are as an explanation of the Mishnah. The first thing is Mishum Harvacha, that you're causing him to profit. Now, I want to read for you Rashi. Rashi has to sort of ask the question, who cares if the non-Jew profits? I'm sorry, I'm just moving the video over so I can read Rashi on my screen. Rashi says that the non-Jew will go and profit, and he will modeh, he will thank his Avodah Zarah, and still Rashi's asking the question, who cares? Why is a Jew responsible for making sure that a non-Jew never says thank you to his own God? I mean, what is that our responsibility? And the answer is, Va'avar Yisrael mishum lo yishama al picha, and the Israelite will transgress the prohibition, it shall not be heard on your voice, which is a quote from Exodus 23. The pshat of that quote is, you shouldn't say anything that's idolatrous or anything like that. You shouldn't falsely swear or utter any false oaths or improper theological statements, extend it as you will, but it's you talking. But notice Rashi has to invent a midrash here based on the syntax of the verse, that not only should you not say anything that is inappropriate to God or to other gods, but you shouldn't even cause a non-Jew to say anything. The other reason is even far more limited, and that's that you shouldn't allow or abet Avodah Zarah, idol worship, in any way by giving a non-Jew an animal to sacrifice. Rabbeinu Tam, one of the Tosfot, has a whole reworking of the sugya here that basically says the only prohibition from the entire Mishnah is to sell them an animal for worship, or to give them an animal that they will use in worship. And in that way, Rabbeinu Tam basically gets rid of the entire prohibition and allows for Jews in the Middle Ages living in France and Germany to really engage economically with non-Jews on their festivals and on the 3 days before their festivals, which really was an economic necessity for Jews living in medieval France, where they were a small minority and had to engage heavily with non-Jews on their festivals. But I want to go back to the Talmudic roots of this. Why is it causing them to stumble in idol worship when they clearly have their own animals? They don't really need the Jewish animal. And the Sugya explores that a little bit, but it is a very, very limiting reading of the Mishnah. But I just want to give an overview of what's the commonality of both of these readings, which is not, I think, the pshat of the Mishnah. The commonality is that the Jew, by engaging with the non-Jew before or during his festival, is somehow causing the non-Jew to worship idols, which again, you have to ask the question, so what? Right? Why should we care if the non-Jew is worshiping idols? The pshat of the Mishnah is probably that by participating in the festival, the Jew is actually in some ways engaging in idol worship. And I believe I've talked about this before, but I didn't highlight it through the sugya. The sugya completely shifts the understanding of it away from the Jew. The Jew's not participating in idolatry. It's by participating in the festival according to the Gemara. It's just the problem of him helping the non-Jew to engage in idol worship. So it's a complete and utter sea shift, I think, in the understanding of the Mishnah. Allows for all sorts of leniencies that we'll counter eventually in the Talmud. We counter some of them on this daf itself. The rabbis seem to be very lenient because they just didn't think the Jews were participating in idolatry simply by engaging economically with non-Jews on or around their festivals. So it's something that we will delve into in greater depth in an upcoming chapter of reconstructing the Talmud. Might take another year. You might have forgotten this, so consider this good chazara by the time you get back to it.